What is going on, Locks Mob? And welcome back to the second installment of the Locks NHL Breakdown videos. I am your host, Addy Narang. You can find me on Twitter right here at ReallyAddy. Go ahead and give me a follow if you want to talk hockey, you want to talk basketball, football, any sport really. You can go ahead and give me a follow, send me a DM or tweet at me so we can talk sports, DFS, anything really. I'm interested in all things sort of sports and the sports betting landscape. So hit me up over here, and you can also follow Locks DFS on Twitter, obviously at Locks DFS. I'm hovering over it right now. So go ahead and give us a follow. It's where we'll post about what we're up to. There's been a lot that's going on right now. I'll get into that, but this is where we're going to post about, what we're up to, our wins, our losses, how we're doing, where you can find all our information. So it's a great follow. But before I get into all that, I know you guys have been waiting on some more clarity as far as like what these videos will contain, when they're coming, and just a little more detail about that. So I can tell you that this is going to be a daily video now, Monday through Friday, only on the weekdays, regardless of slate size. I'm going to try and get this video out for you guys every single day. And really, essentially, all it's going to be, if you caught the first one, it's just going to be a breakdown of sort of our NHL slates on DraftKings, although I am going to try and talk a bit more about FanDuel as well. The tough thing about FanDuel, and honestly it's been similar like that with DraftKings, is that FanDuel has just been mispricing so many players. I know they do it across sports, but on DraftKings especially, they'll just, on FanDuel especially for hockey, they will just leave players at like min price despite that player getting a first line bump a couple games ago, and you just won't see their price get bumped up. So it's a little tougher to talk about because you really got to dig through all of that. So that's why for the most part we will talk about DraftKings. But just digging through this slate, as I said, this is going to be a rough breakdown. I'm going to try and talk a little bit about each game, although it is a 10-game slate, and then I'll talk about a few of my favorite locks of this slate. But DraftKings, they've just mispriced so many players all year as well, and that was a theme of the last NHL breakdown I did, and that's going to be the theme of this NHL breakdown as well. And let's just start with the center position, which in my opinion actually has some of the most drastic mispricing. And it really starts with the top option here, and that's Evgeny Malkin in the high price range. And it's crazy because he's not in the high price range. He's priced below guys like Matt Duchene. All these guys are serviceable. Sean Monahan, he doesn't shoot the puck nearly as much as Evgeny Malkin. Nicholas Backstrom, more of Ovechkin center than anything else. So it's really weird to see Evgeny Malkin price here at 6,200. His play this year has been pretty damn good. He's over a point per game player. He's been colder in his recent games. He's gone 3 straight games without recording a point, but he's stepping into what should be a very high tempo back and forth game versus a Colorado team that's very, very good. Pittsburgh has its defensive woes as well. They're a little better at home, but their offense, the main thing is their offense tends to click a lot more at home than it does on the road, as with any NHL team. But it's projected in their or I should say it's reflected in their projected Vegas score. Vegas team totals are sitting at 3.5. The over-under of this game is 6.5. And it's hard to take an over on 6.5, but it's tempting with the way Pittsburgh gives up goals, but the way that they can generate offense, especially with Sidney Crosby back as well. I think Sidney Crosby back, it kind of puts a dent in Evgeny Malkin's minutes. He's not going to be skating those 22 minutes he was skating just a week ago when Sidney Crosby was out, but he's still going to skate 20 minutes. He's still an elite offensive center. I think he is probably one of the locks of this slate. The only reason he wouldn't be a lock is because of how deep with value this center position is. If you keep scrolling down a bit, we have Alexander Barkov at 5,700. This is an absurd price. He should be a 7K center minimum, and that's with Vincent Trocheck out. Vincent Trocheck kind of operates in a similar role. For those of you who don't know, he operates in a similar role as it's sort of like a Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin thing, where both those guys man the first and second line. First line center Crosby, second line center Malkin. In Florida, first line center Barkov, second line center Trocheck. They both skate at least 20 minutes. They're both tasked with a lot of offensive responsibility on their lines, and as well as defensive responsibility for Vincent Trocheck, as do some of those Pittsburgh centers. But anytime one of those centers is missing, the other one sees a bigger boost in offensive responsibility as well as a few minute boost in playing time. And Trocheck's been out for the past week, and Barkov's been pretty good. I mean, he scored a goal in 3 of his past 4 games, and the most important thing is look at these minutes. This is absurd for defensemen, skating 26, 25, 24, 24, 25. This is all with Trocheck out. If you see prior to Trocheck, it was right around here, 19 minutes. And ever since then, ever since his injury, it's just his minutes has shot up. His price, for whatever reason, has dropped 800. I think it's because DraftKings factors in like the name of these teams more. Like the Bruins are known as a good defensive team, and their numbers this year reflect them being a decent defensive team, but they do have a banged up defensive corps. They're getting a little bit healthier, but they're still missing Charlie McAvoy. I believe they're actually missing Zdeno Chara as well, still Kevin Miller. So they're missing a lot of their key defensemen. I mean, Torrey Krug's a good defender, but he's more of an offensive-minded defenseman. John Moore, they got him back, but Grizzly, he's an offensive-minded defenseman as well. So their back end and their depth lines really aren't that strong defensively. The real line you want to avoid is the Pasternak, Bergeron, Marchand line, but Bergeron isn't even playing. He's on the DL as well. That hurts him tremendously defensively as well. And Florida has a modest team total at 2.9, but it's risen from 2.7. And if I were to just bet this game straight up, I like Florida at minus 114 here. I think Barkov and this first line from Florida really do a ton of damage. He's also pairable, of course, with Mike Hoffman, who's underpriced at $6K as well. If you're picking straight up between Hoffman and Dadonov, if you want to pair one of them with Barkov, I like Hoffman personally. He's just one of the most elite shot rate guys in the league, has been for a couple years now. Actually, a lot more than a couple years now, but... So if you want to pair someone with Barkov, I really like the price on Barkov Hoffman. Getting him at sub 12K is a really lethal stack for a fair price. Moving on, we actually have even more value at center. It's crazy. We have Boone Jenner sitting here at 4,900. I'm not going to talk about him too much, but if you just go through his game logs, this is one of the more elite shot plus block shot floor players you can get. I mean, he's typically always going to get you around 3, 2. I think he's good for about 5 shots and block shots every single game, which is something that for 4.9K, I mean, if you lock yourself into 2.5 points, that's an absolute steal as a floor. And he's 1,200 cheaper than he was just 2 games ago in a much tougher matchup versus Minnesota. Calgary's a good team, but they do give up goals defensively on the road as well. So, and Columbus is a really good hockey team in general, really good offensive team. And I like this Columbus second line with Boone Jenner centering Josh Anderson. I think they make for an interesting little 1-2 stack that you could probably get at around 10K. So I think that's interesting as well. But if we keep scrolling even farther down here, I mean, we got Nazem Kadri at 4.1K. He's seen a little less of a role with the return of Austin Matthews, not as much of an offensive responsibility. I think he'll probably go back to when they sort of used him as that checking line as far as defending teams' top lines when they're at home. But on the road, he should get matched up against the depth of Buffalo, and he's also a good play. We'll go ahead and show you. I'm on dailyfaceoff.com. He should be centering that third line with Connor Brown and Par Lindholm. So not the most talented offensive line, but he should give you 15 minutes, and he should be the primary shooter on this line as well. So I like that play. But I think more than that, I think I just want to play Jeff Carter at 3.9K. I don't really want to target the Kings too much, but this is like social experiment pricing here. There's no reason Jeff Carter should be 3.9K. It's not like he's not shooting the puck. It's not like he's not talented. He's just on a really shitty offense. So I think he's a fine play at that price point. I mean, he's definitely a guy who probably, if I were to go to 5 dimes and look up odds to score a goal, I bet he's sitting at somewhere around like plus 200, which is really fair, really fair for that price. But yeah, and you can pair him up with Tyler Toffoli if you want. Jeff Carter, he's still got that role on that first power play. He actually pairs really well with a few other underpriced guys like Anze Kopitar, Drew Doughty. Not to jump to defenseman, but Drew Doughty is sitting at 4.5K. This is a dude who skates like 28 minutes a game. Should probably play him. Pair it with Jeff Carter. I love that a lot. And Arizona's a good team. As far as Corsi 4% is, they do drive a lot of the puck play, but they are on the road. And I do expect the Kings just to be a little better than they've been. So I am on Jeff Carter at that price point as well. But that's enough on center. Let's move on to wing. Wing, there's really just one stone lock for me. I'm not going to give away too much in these videos because I do want to save a lot of the information for our members. On DraftKings, we're doing a cheat sheet now, so all of these guys will be on this cheat sheet. Super easy to fill out your lineup with it. But it does require you all to use some sort of thought as far as you can use this analysis and put forth a couple guys, and then the rest of the lineup should fill itself out just based on the cheat sheet that I've given you, and that is provided for all our DraftKings members, and for FanDuel, of course, we will still provide the full lineup. But with that being said, there's just a stone lock here at this wing position. Like, when you scroll through all these names, Tom Wilson here at 6.9K is like talk about something that doesn't fit. Like, he should not be here. Product of Ovechkin, playing on that Ovechkin line, getting a bunch of tap-in goals. He's a talented player, but he's not a 7K player. Don't ever pay that price for him, no matter how many goals he scores, because that will regress bad. But with that being said, I already talked about Mike Hoffman. But my stone lock at this position, and right here in this range, there's, let me actually go right here. In this range, this screen that I have pulled up, I think you can play all three of your wingers on DraftKings right off of this screen right here because they are way too underpriced. Most of these guys, I should say. But the stone lock for me is Jonathan Marchessault. He just should not be 5.5K. I have it pulled up here. This is via Corsica, and I just have it filtered via iCorsi4 percentage, which is essentially how much a person shoots the puck. This factors all those in. In fact, it factors in shots that are blocked, shots that aren't blocked, shots that reach the net, shots that don't reach the net, shots that miss the net. So it's essentially how much a guy's shooting the puck. And so you want the guys who are shooting the puck because in daily fantasy hockey, that is how you generate points. All your assists, or not all your assists, obviously, but a lot of assists, a lot of goals, or just tip-ins or tap-ins after it's been saved. So you really want to get guys who are putting the puck on net, puts them in the best position to generate not only the 0.5 for the shot on goal, but generate the big points as in assists and goals. If we keep looking to the left or to the right a little bit, we see Jonathan Marchessault's shooting percentage is 5.56%. He's more of an 8 to 9% career rate shooter, so I do like this to regress positively. And he's stepping into a great matchup. Vegas in general is one of the top Corsi4 percentage teams in the league. I believe they're third. And Washington on the road just allows a plethora of opportunities. So I think Jonathan Marchessault, 5.5K. I think you should just lock him in. I'd probably pay like 7K for him in this matchup. So 5.5K, lock him in. And then not to spend like too much time on this position because I don't want to, like I said, give away just too many plays. But Artemi Panarin, 5.8K. He's like a 7.4K player, so you're getting a crazy discount on him here. Stepping into a good matchup like I talked about. Columbus is still projected to score 3.2 points, and I think I would bet the over on this game too. This could end up being a more fantasy-friendly game than I think even a 6 total indicates that it may be. Both these teams are really good offensively, and both have had their defensive issues as far as expected goals against per 60 goals. Although both teams are getting better, they both started the season really poorly. They still do rank as one of the more poor teams, each of them. So I do like the idea of getting exposure to this Columbus offense through probably their best player, Panarin, and he's just not priced like it. So love that. And then if we scroll over here to Pittsburgh, and we go through their lines, we see that Evgeny, like I talked about, Evgeny Malkin is skating on this second line with Patrick Hornquist. Patrick Hornquist as well is he's always been one of the more elite shot rate guys in the league. And he's the net front guy on Pittsburgh's lethal first power play. So just getting exposure to this alone at 5.6K is worth it. And then when you get to pair him with Evgeny Malkin at 6.2K, I just think that's a fire way to go about roster construction. But yeah, I think that's really it. If you want to pay up for a high price guy, I don't think you can go wrong with. Obviously you can't go wrong with any of them. I think Ovechkin, despite what I said about Vegas being a dominant puck possession team, I think Ovechkin could get his. Vegas does take its fair share of penalties, and Ovechkin on the power play is the most lethal thing in NHL DFS, aside from maybe like Connor McDavid in 3-on-3 overtime. But Ovechkin at 7.6K. He's a good play in what should be a back and forth game. Kucherov, obviously you can't go wrong with him. He did really well yesterday, 7.5K. I like him on this line with Tyler Johnson and Braden Point more than I like him with Stamkos. Not for DFS purposes, because I love stacking Stamkos with Kucherov, but just individually, Kucherov does become the unquestioned shooter of this line. So I do like that. But yeah, that's probably enough on the winger position. Anything else, y'all can, feel free to shoot me a DM, tweet at me, or buy a pass and hop in our Slack chat, because I'm always answering questions in our Slack chat for most of the day, but guaranteed at least the hour before lock, I'll be in there through the entire time, walking you guys through your teams, 1v1s, any question, 2v2s, 3v3s you may have, any of your own analysis that you want to critique on, you can run it my way, and I'll let you know in our Slack chat or through tweets and DMs. But yeah, so moving on to defense, again, the theme is underpriced guys. We can just start with Drew Doughty, I guess. I already talked about him, but he's 4.5K and pairs extremely well with Jeff Carter. I'm a big fan of just locking in minutes at defense. Obviously, the player has to be productive, and Drew Doughty's been a productive defenseman his entire career, so there's no reason to think that'll change now. But getting him at 4.5K, it's worth it, man. Look at these minutes: 28, 23, 27, 28, 30. Like, you're getting 30-minute upside from Drew Doughty at 4.5K, and what should be not an up-tempo, fantasy-friendly matchup, but a matchup where the Kings should score like 2, 3, maybe 4 goals, which is crazy to say for the Kings. So I like Drew Doughty to be involved with that. And again, like I said, pairing him with Jeff Carter on that power play 1, and they should skate together a lot at 5v5. I like that. Another guy, Colin Miller, seeing him at 3.6K, that doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. He's one of the more elite shot rate defensemen in the entire league. It held true last year, is holding true this year, and for some reason it's 3.6K on DK. He gives you first team exposure or first power play exposure. As you can see here, he's on the first power play with Jonathan Marchessault, who I already talked about. Riley Smith, a guy I actually didn't talk about, but he's 4.5K on DraftKings. Pairs extremely well with Marchessault, and I think going with a Marchessault Smith Colin Miller stack, Marchessault Smith on the first line, pair it with Colin Miller on the first power play. That is a nasty stack, something I could definitely see myself doing come 7 p.m. Eastern time. Danny DeKeyser skates a solid chunk of minutes at 3.4K. That's a fairly good value. But I'd much, much rather play Colin Miller at that price point. So I think Colin Miller is the clear value, and I'm not going to really spend too much time talking about the cheaper guys. I don't know the news on Tyson Barrie. He's coming back for this game. Okay, so that puts a knock on Samuel Girard, who's been a guy that we've just been riding for the past couple games with we just had him. I think we had him in all 4 of these games with Tyson Barrie out, and he did great in all 4 of them. But he doesn't really hold as much value anymore because he's going to be knocked off that power play 1 rule. Ideally, but you would assume so, but keep a lookout for that, because if for whatever reason he does maintain that power play 1 rule, he's again in play in a great matchup. Like I talked about, should be a fantasy friendly game. Who else do we got here? If we scroll up a bit, because I know you guys always like to know about the high price options, who my favorite high price option is. I don't exactly see myself paying up at defender here, because I do think I want to take advantage of like I talked about all those guys. They're cheap for their price, but they still carry like a price point, like 6.2K, 5.7K, 5.8 for Panarin, 6 for Hoffman, 4.5 for Doughty. It's not crazy value, but it's very much value for their price. So I don't know if I'll be able to pay up. I do really like Seth Jones here in what should be a back and forth game, like I talked about with Columbus versus Calgary, for the same reason Giordano is probably the highest floor defenseman, up there with Roman Josi as far as shots plus block shots go. He skates on the power play, he skates on the penalty kill, he skates a bunch of even strength. So both these guys do both those things. So I like both of them back and forth. Chris Letang, same reason, pairs really well with Evgeny Malkin, gives you more exposure to that lethal Pittsburgh power play 1, and he's always been one of the better offensive defensemen in the entire league, and that holds true this year. And lastly, Shea Weber, he returned 3 games ago and has looked like the Shea Weber of old. He's skating the Shea Weber minutes of old. We had him in this game right here. This was sick. 2-goal game, 5 shots on goal. The block shots haven't even been there, and his floor is so high. So I really like the idea of pairing him. I didn't really talk much about this Montreal-Ottawa game, but you could pair him with like Brendan Gallagher, who's around 6K, 6.1. That equals what, 12K for that stack, and that's a good floor stack. Because you get a high rate shooter in Gallagher, or you could go with Drouin right here as well. Either one of them is great. And pair that with Shea Weber. That's very nice as well. I didn't talk much about this Montreal-Ottawa game, but this game should be a very back-and-forth fantasy-friendly game as well. And a lot of these options are fairly priced because, neither of these teams are great. So, you could probably get some good exposure to this game to fill out your lineups. Because if we go to their team total, it's sitting here at a 6.5 team total. Montreal's projected at 3.8 goals. That's amazing for Montreal, but Montreal's a better puck possession team than people would realize. I believe they're in the top 10 in the league in Corsi for percentage. So getting their most offensively involved defenseman, their captain, Shea Weber at 5.9K is a steal. So I like him as well. Now moving on to goalie, like I always talk about, goalie is a crapshoot. It's a 10-game slate. Just play whoever you think pairs well with whatever stack you end up on, whether that be Pittsburgh or you got some Florida pieces or LA pieces or you got, Columbus or something. Just roll with the goalie for that stack because you would hope that your stack goes off, your goalie gets the win, and everything is copacetic from there. But if you do want me to talk about goalies a little bit, Casey DeSmith, 7.2K. Should face a ton of shots for almost sneezed there. Casey DeSmith, 7.2K. He should face a ton of shots because of Pittsburgh's defensive woes. He could give up a couple goals here, but getting a home favorite at 7.2K on DraftKings is always a bet. And like I said, he should face a lot of shots from Colorado. So if he can save most of those, he should be a very serviceable goalie play. We also got either one of these LA goals. I'm assuming Quick will be a net tonight, so getting him at 7.3K is a super talented goalie at 7.3K. Actually, is Quick? Yeah, Quick. I believe he returned, and yeah, he blanked the Hurricanes. Yep. So if he is Jonathan Quick of old, I love the idea of playing him in what should be a low-scoring game versus Arizona. He probably won't see too many shots on goal, but he's a good. He's probably your cheapest option for a shutout if you want to chase a shutout. Connor Hellebuck, that's actually really cheap for him at 7.4K. This is a game that Winnipeg, I haven't even looked at the total, but yeah, this makes sense. 3.2 growing to 3.3. Favorites growing slightly. I like the idea of playing him. He's a guy who should face a lot of shots as well because the Islanders at home do chuck the puck on net a fair amount. So I like both those, or all three of those cheap options. And if you want to pay up, maybe just go with Carey Price or someone like that. Like we talked about, we have Montreal priced at projected for 3.8 goals. Ottawa projected for 2.8, but more importantly, Ottawa does shoot the puck a fair amount. So Carey Price should be in line, and Carey Price should be in line for a lot of saves. And he's a guy who could stand on his head and get you a shutout, no matter how many shots are put on net. So if you want to pay up, I like Carey Price, but I think I prefer paying down and getting sort of like DeSmith or Jonathan Quick or Hellebuck or one of those guys. But yeah, with that all being said, appreciate you guys checking out this video. Go ahead and give it a like, comment, and subscribe if you did enjoy. As always, we are running the giveaways that we do every week. Go ahead and leave a comment below. Let me know what you liked about this video, maybe what you want to see in the future, something about your favorite hockey play for today or just in general. Let me know what you think about Seattle getting an NHL team. Let me know anything in the comment section below, and we just pick the most active people to win either NHL, NBA, or NFL season pass absolutely free of charge. And it's up to you. So with that being said, give me a follow here at Really Addy, and again for Locks at Locks DFS. Thank you guys so much for checking this video out, and yeah, let's get this money tonight. Peace.